Welcome back, everybody. You're here at KGTR. Today's feature video is going to be a short video on the sad, depressing life of Ozzy Osbourne. All right, let's go ahead and begin. This is taken from the article To Hell and Back from Guitar Legends magazine, released May 30th, 2005. 20 years before the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, they were already celebrating his life and his career back in 2005. Since he sadly just passed away, one of you out there gave me the idea to go ahead and read aloud this wonderful article from Guitar Legends called To Hell and Back. Here's the second part of the article, and it's pretty much going to cover his sad, depressing life. Again, I'm going to be making short little videos so that you get to hear stories that you probably never knew about Ozzy Osbourne. So you're here at KGTR. Let's go ahead and begin. All right. This is about the sad, depressing childhood of Ozzy Osbourne. So stick around. Here we go. John Michael Osbourne was born in Birmingham, England on December 3rd, 1948, the fourth of John and Lillian Osbourne's 6 children. His parents were factory workers, which meant that money, food, and clothes were particularly, for a family of 8, quite scarce. Wow, 6 kids and 2 parents. That's a lot. That's like the Brady Bunch. I had 1 pair of shoes, 1 pair of socks, never wore underclothes, 1 pair of trousers, and 1 jacket, says Ozzy. That's a very sad childhood, if you think about it. I mean, most people have a wardrobe. He just has 1 of everything. And, oh, that's so sad. That was it, adds Sharon. All 6 children slept in the same bed, and they had no bathroom inside the home. He came from nothing. Lacking the most basic amenities, Ozzy would regularly lose himself in the pounding beat and passion of rock and roll, which helped him imagine a more exciting life beyond his blue-collar hometown. I loved music as a child, the magic behind rock and roll, says Osbourne. My sisters would bring home Chuck Berry records, and I would sing and dance around the house. At night, I would lie awake and fantasize about doing some things really great. Ozzy's impoverished existence may have been difficult, but the truth is that it was pretty much all he could expect, as he and his family lived a typical Birmingham life. So that's sad, but all they had were family. He lived with his brothers and sisters. Imagine that, all sleeping on the same bed. So it must be a full-size bed, queen-size bed, who knows what kind of bed, but you had to fit 6 people. They were sleeping sideways. That bed is sideways. That's sad. That's sad. His school days, however, were truly nightmarish. He was often tormented by bullies and suffering from dyslexia. He consistently scored low grades. One of his regular abusers, an older schoolmate, was a guitarist named Anthony, aka Tony Iommi. Imagine that. Your school bully was Tony Iommi, who would years later team up with Ozzy to form Black Sabbath. I used to hate the sight of him, recalls Iommi. I couldn't stand him. I used to beat him up. Can you imagine that? Tony Iommi used to beat him up. I used to beat him up whenever I saw him. We just didn't get on at school. He was a little punk. Ozzy left school at 15 and bounced from job to job, working for a time at a car horn factory and in a slaughterhouse. By age 17, however, he was no longer earning an honest day's pay, having turned to a life of petty crime. Poor Ozzy. Spending a few months in jail, he was caught stealing a television. That was enough to make him rethink his career as a larcenist. He emerged from Winston Green prison with the letters Ozzy tattooed on his knuckles. We've all seen that famous, his knuckles. Google it on TV, or to Google it on YouTube, or on Google it, and you'll see Ozzy on his knuckles. And you can see it clearly on the Ozzy Osbourne live at Irvine Meadows with Greg Gillis. When he's holding the microphone, you can see Ozzy on his knuckles. So at the age of 17, he emerged from Winston Green prison with the letters Ozzy tattooed on his knuckles and a new determination to pursue a career in music. So he had a very sad childhood, getting beat up a lot by his nemesis named Anthony, who later became Tony Iommi, and who later formed with him the band Black Sabbath. And imagine that, having one pair of shoes, one pair of socks, one pair of trousers, no underpants whatsoever. So he had no underwear, and they all slept in the same bed. And his only escape at the time was the love of music. So what do you think about his impoverished lifestyle? Everyone knew that he was poor, but that's just one accounting of how seriously how he made himself a kid from nothing, other than the love of his parents, but he had nothing. To go out on his own, which we're going to hear in a little bit, to become one of the most successful godfathers of rock and roll heavy metal. All right, so that was pretty much how Ozzy described his upbringing as a kid up until the age of 17, when he was arrested for larceny, stealing a television set. But while he was in jail, he had enough time to tattoo Ozzy on his knuckles. What do you think about that story? Did you already know how poor he was? What do you think about him being a criminal at the age of 17? All right, I'm Tony. Click subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay tuned. Our next story is going to be about the birth of Black Sabbath, as accounted in the article To Hell and Back, featured on Guitar Legends magazine, issue from May 30th, 2005. Again, 20 years before his passing. They were already paying tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. I'm giving you these little short videos on his life, giving you information you may have never heard about. All right, thanks everybody, and stay tuned. Behind the scenes, I'm uploading daily, if not weekly, all my Jordan Lynch videos, my entire collection, my vault of Jordan Lynch concerts, Lynch Mob concerts, Jordan Lynch clinics, you name it, I have it, with Dawkins, Lynch Mob, Jordan Lynch solo projects, Project Infidelica, The End Machine, KXM, Sweet and Lynch, any footage that I have of Jordan Lynch that I have acquired since 1982, I'm going to share it with you, my entire vault. So if you love Jordan Lynch, subscribe, because you're going to be getting your daily dose. Feel free to download, grab whatever you want to, because as we're celebrating the life of Ozzy, don't forget we lost legends of Eddie Van Halen, we lost the legend of Randy Rhoads, and the last of the big three is George Lynch. So I'm going to make sure I preserve his legacy on my channel here at KGTR. Every possible footage that I have acquired, collected, purchased, downloaded of George Lynch to share with all of you, because he's the last of the big three. All right, thanks everybody. Stay tuned for our next video. Will be the birth of Black Sabbath, as accounted in To Hell and Back. All right, I'll see you folks in the next video.